start to introduce it because you mentioned earlier, and I wrote it down, how vestibular can plays a role in posterior chain development. Like posterior chain development is clearly important. How is it that the vestibular system affects posterior chain development?
Through the cortical spinal tract, right? There's different pathways of the vestibular system, and through the cortical spinal tract, so it goes down the spine. So that's what the Romberg's test is. Anyone familiar with the Romberg's test?
Nope.
It's where there's several variations of it. The Romberg's test you can do. You stand up, put your feet together. You can cross your arms. In posturology, we point our fingers, and then I'll line up with them and measure. And you close your eyes, and you see how they sway. If they sway, if they move left, if they move right. In advanced version is you put one foot behind the other now, so that really challenges the vestibular system. And close your eyes. So anytime you kind of take the eyes out, that's going to be highly vestibular,
Hold on. So you're
because the
saying
eyes.
feet together, stand up, cross your arms, and bend over.
No, stand up. No, don't bend over. Just stand up
Guys,
and just
I'm gonna
stand
do.
straight. Can you stand
I'm
there?
gonna do
Can
it
you
right
stand
now.
there for a minute? And
You
then
have to
another
stay here
one would
for a
be,
minute.
yeah, just do it for 10 seconds, Justin. Let's see. But all right, put your feet together and see, do you sway? You lean right, you lean left. Now, a more advanced one, Justin, would be now put your right foot behind your left foot, like directly behind your left foot. That is an advanced Romberg test. And these are simple tests you can do with anybody,
Hmm.
right? Generally, the side they fall to is the weaker hemisphere in the
I
in
felt
the
myself going right and left when my feet were together and like kind of diagonally when they were together, but I'm gonna do that more later.
right. But yeah, and so there's easy things. So there's a course, the IP Institute by Matt Belay.
I
He's
think
up
that's
in
the one.
Montreal. Dude, that's game changer. I mean that stuff. When I first took it, I was like, what the fuck? What is this weird stuff? I'm gonna get athletes on the floor and start rocking and doing all this stuff.
Dude, it looks like you're just
But when you do it and when you steam, when you understand the why, again, tying back to our original conversation with
what was it called
Fernando.
again?
When you understand the why, then you're like, oh, this shit. Okay, this shit's a game changer. Like
What
this
was it
stuff.
called again? IP
IP Institute,
IP Institute.
and yep, and so it's just my nature. I took the IP Institute. There's 3 levels. Again, it's relatively inexpensive. It's highly applicable. Matt is amazing. He goes above and beyond trying to answer questions, help you. You can message him. He'll send you videos of, okay, if you're doing this right or left. But it's very well thought out course on neurological development, but now making it more applicable for the weight room and for coaches like us. Um, so it's not the Melilo stuff per se, but I mean, you can put the two together, which I
Yeah, I was
do.
about to say, what's the difference for anybody that's listening? Like, all right, I've heard Jeff
The
talk
difference
about
is
them.
Matt doesn't address directly primitive reflexes, and he doesn't directly address the right and left hemispheres. He looks at it from his course is built from, as I mentioned, the pyramid of learning from Williams and Schnellenberg's and the stages of development, the stages of development. And so he goes through the stages with specific exercises and explains the why and gives you the science and all the stuff. And it's fantastic. It is an awesome course. It's very dense in its in the education and the time Matt puts into it. But it's awesome. It's good stuff. But again, it's one of those looking from the outside in, you see me or Matt or Dan Fichter post videos of kids rocking on the fucking ground or sliding their foot up their leg. You're like, what is this weird shit? Again, but you'll find it where, okay, I posted a video. I have a couple soccer athletes who chronically have a tight right hip. Their right hip's always tight. External rotation is very a struggle for them on their right side. And so in development, well, where is the glute developed? Well, it's developed during creeping and then during crawling. That's where the glutes are developed, and it's tied in with the big toe. So one, we roll out their right foot, and then two, we do some creeping exercise that involves some proprioception, digging their big toe in, similar to how it is when they learn to creep, and then all of a sudden their external rotation improves without having to stretch because it's a neurological issue. So that's what tie it back to that story of that college football player, the defensive back that fine he was the W sitter. Well, he has flat feet and all this stuff, super tight. Man, we just been doing part of his warm ups is just all this neurological stuff, and he's been loosening up. He just played an All-Star game. He says he played pain free and he's moving better than he has. And again, we don't do too much as far as mobility work. We're doing a lot more of the neuro stuff with him.
Feeding into that, how would you? I heard people talking before too that Oh God, anterior being the lower cross syndrome is just completely made up. Would that be kind of tied into like yes, it is made up because it is all related to neurology and the vestibular system and our reflexes.
Um, well, it's to me, it's more related to. It could be related to reflexes, so it's related to tone, right? So whether you agree or disagree with posture, some people in our industry really don't agree with posture. Some people do. Regardless, generally, there everyone agrees on tone. Tone is the tension in the body, right? So we should have even tone in our body, right? So my right shoulder shouldn't feel tighter than my left shoulder, and I should have equal tone, right? Regardless of my shoulders are tilted or what have you. And so posturology looks at tone, and that's now dealing with the kind of upper and lower cross syndrome. And so in posturology, yeah, we look at anterior tilt, we look at the head and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, what we're really trying to address is the sensors of the body, because posture is just the brain strategy to overcome gravity. And so it's the major sensors of the body that kind of tell us now how to do that. And the first sensor is the skin of the feet, the bottom of the feet. That is the first sensor. Then the eyes. Then it's going to be your skin and jaw, and then the vestibular system. So
So
we
what would
kind
you?
of
Oh,
address
go
it in
ahead.
that order. So for someone people dealing with high school kids, they're not going to have a lot of scars. They're not going to have tattoos. They're generally not going to have metal in their mouth unless it's braces, which we can talk about the detrimental effect of braces. Um, they're not going to have missing teeth, right? So generally, you just address their feet, address their eyes. Shit fixes itself pretty good for old guys like us. Happy birthday to you, you old fuck. You know what I mean? We got some things. You know what I mean? I got scars. I'm sure you got scars. We got tattoos, things like that. So now there's a bit more that goes into the postural adjustment and things like that. But upper cross syndrome, again for me, I look at it from a posturology standpoint is going to be problems with the feet, the eyes, and the jaw.
So okay, start there. What about with people that have calluses because their toes and they're like they have bunions? Is that like, hey, just get them shaved down, soak your feet? Like, what would you be telling people to do about that stuff then?
Well, I would say adjust your shoes first and foremost. You need different shoes. You need different footwear.
What should they
Um,
have?
I can't really. I'm gonna say minimalist. I'm a minimalist guy. Maybe have to work your way there. Maybe don't just jump right to a pair of Vivos or something like that. But I'm a minimalist guy. There's criteria that I look for. Again, anything over 2 millimeters is going to disrupt that information. So I'm trying to either get them there or work them down to flatter shoes. Looking for wider toe boxes. With the bunions and stuff, you're generally going to see from a posturology standpoint, that's where they're going to have asymmetric feet. They're going to have two different feet, both from a standing standpoint and then from a balance standpoint, feet that do different things, which to me tells me now that we got asymmetry of tone in the body, and that's going to cause some other things up the chain that's going to get fucked up. And so, as we know in the physical therapy world and in the posture world, the feet are going to affect what's happening at the pelvis. Well, people also know that what happens to the pelvis can affect the jaw, and so it's all connected. And so also this is where I was optometry would the field of optometry would pay a little more attention to posturology because you can speed up a lot of things that happen at the eyes by correcting the feet. Because as I mentioned before, the eyes are meant to find the horizon. If we can't do that well, we're going to have tracking issues or we're going to have convergence issues. It's usually because we're trying to shoot a cannon out of a canoe and we got feet that are doing two different things.
So why do braces and tattoos mess it all up?
Because the skin is the largest organ of your body. And so now all of a sudden we're putting this foreign substance into our skin. Scars are hugely detrimental to going back to the Chinese medicine. I'm sure Gudango could talk about that, detrimental to the meridian lines and the energy and things like that. One of the most detrimental scars that I generally see is with women with C-sections because of the central meridian and running through the body and everything like that. My wife has had two C-sections, so scars are hugely detrimental. But same with tattoos, and trust me, I love tattoos; they're fucking addictive. But they can cause some energetic issues as far as being part of the skin.
Are they fixable? Like if anybody had, like, let's say somebody didn't want to get tattoos, they had to get surgery because, pregnancy
Yeah,
or an injury.
yes. Yeah, so you find a practitioner that can do a scar release, and then in posturology they use in France they use a blend of essential oils. I couldn't tell you what was all in that, but I was trying to find that when I was studying posturology, and the only place that you can find it, and this is not a knock on a net, but was a net up in Posture Pro, and she's up in Montreal, and it was like $120. And again, I'm not trying to, it works. I'm just saying that for me, that's heavy, and plus it's coming all the way from Montreal, so it's not going to be here quick. So there's a company, shit, I can get you the name of it, that I've used their essential oils for stimulating the brain and doing things like that. That I reached out to them and said, "Hey, would it be possible you can make this blend?" And they said, "Yeah, why? Absolutely." So they ended up making a blend for me for scar release, and they added their own components because they're a bunch of body workers and
Hmm.
massage therapists. So there's a scar release oil that we used that they also teach the technique with. I can send you the info on the name and stuff like that. But yeah, scars are hugely detrimental, and so this scar oil on top of a good scar release can release the negative effects.
What about scar? What about, I guess, do stretch marks count for any pregnant women that didn't have a C-section, or athletes like me that went from 225-pound high school athlete to 300-pound offensive lineman?
Um, I don't know that answer, and I'm not gonna lie to you with some bullshit. I don't know the
You
effects
could
of
have sold some fucking oil to me and a bunch of other
dude.
people.
No, I don't know that. I have not looked into the. They never in any of the courses I've come across talked about the effects of stretch marks. They just talk about the effects of tattoos and scars.
Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Why don't you celebrate by watching more videos just like it? You can also help us on our quest to placate the algorithm gods by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. Thank you.